Hi everyone, I'm Martin, and in this video I'm going to show you 5 clock example solves. Currently I'm averaging 5 seconds in clock and I'm 10th in the world for clock average, so I should be qualified to make these example solves. So if you have just started clock or if you are averaging more than 15 seconds, I wouldn't recommend this video for you, because the things that I will cover in this video will be a bit complicated. Being fast at solving clock does not fully depend on your solution, but also things like practice, case recognition, and also errors. That's why when I'm solving my clock, I'm not always doing my best solution like in these example solves, because I have turning errors for most of my solves. And I will be using my pin order to demonstrate to my example solve, so your best solution may not be the same as mine. So without further ado, let's start our first example solve. So this is going to be our first scramble. So we have a lucky case here, obviously. I also see this lucky case, but if I'm going to solve this as my second cross, then there will be no lucky case. For my inspection, for my first cross, I'm going to solve this edge first, and then this edge, and this edge. Because of my pin order, this is what I can think of for my first cross. For the second side, if I do an x2, then this is going to be something like a column. I will just solve this edge first because of my pin order preferences, and then I solve this edge. If you do not know about this already, so let me turn this style first. And notice how this edge, which is opposite to these two edges, this is facing 12. Even if I'm solving this edge or this edge, this clock will not move. I solve this edge first, and then this edge, and also we have another lucky case here, which is not the main focus, and then we actually solved the entire cross using 3 moves. So after that I do an x2 to solve this edge, and then this edge, and then I solve the last 4 corners like in my pin order. Then we solved our Rubik's clock. So this is a second scramble. So we have this lucky case here, but for this side we have the lucky case like what I mentioned in my first example solve. You can solve this edge first or this edge first and follow my pin order and follow my pin order like that. For my inspection, I will just think of solving this edge first and then this edge, and also this lucky case. Then I will do an y2. The reason I'm not doing x2 is because of this lucky case. I tend to solve this lucky case like this. I'm just only going to solve the center to these 2 edges for my second cross. So let's start solving our clock by solving this edge first. So like last time, the edge which is facing opposite to these 2 solved edges is facing 12. We are going to save a move here. And then we solve this edge, and then this edge, and then we solve the entire cross. And then I do an y2 and push this pin up. And then I'm going to solve this instead of solving this because of this skip case. If you are going to solve this and then solve this, you will miss this lucky case. But if you're solving this edge first, then you get a corner skip. After that, I'm going to solve this edge and then this edge, and follow my own pin order for the last 3 corners. And then we solve the entire clock. This is our third scramble. We see lots of lucky case in this scramble. I'm going to solve my first cross on this side first because of this lucky case. When I solve this center to these edges, this edge is going to face 12. These 3 edges to this one, this is not going to move. That means we can save another move again. We are definitely going to solve this cross first, and then this one. So for my pin order, I would like to solve these 2 edges to these 2 edges, and then solve this clock. So we have to notice what kinds of rotation we have to do. Originally we solved the clock like this, but then we have to do a diagonal rotation. So for my inspection, I'm going to think to solve this, then this one, this edge, because this is solved. For the second side, I'm just only going to think to match these 2 clocks to these 2 clocks. Let's start to solve these 2 edges first, and then this edge. Notice this is not going to move. And then we solve the cross and do a diagonal rotation. We have this lucky case, which is a corner skip. So after I push down these 2 pins and this pin and solve, and then I solve this, do the final last 4 corners like in my pin order. And that's the end of my third example solve. This is going to be my fourth example solve. So far I can only see this lucky case, so for solving this clock will be a bit straightforward. We are going to match the center to these two edges, and then this edge, and then this edge, and solve the cross. And after that I'm going to solve this edge, and then this edge. And everything is just following my pin order. So if you're familiar with my pin order, then you probably know what I'm going to solve. So let's start doing the DR, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. I'm just only going to press this pin instead of pushing all of them. This will be good for solving my second cross. So after that I'm going to do one move and then X2, and then solve this cross like this, like this, like this, and then solve it. So and then solve the second cross, and then I'm going to solve the remaining four corners like what I would do in my pin order, and then we have our fourth example solve. This will be the Scrabble of the last solve. There are lucky cases on both sides, like this and this and this. I'm going to solve the cross on this side because it is easier. I will solve the cross in this way because it's good for my pin order. We have to also think of the another rotation. If I do a Y2 here, lucky case on the second side, it will be facing upwards, which is good for my pin order. So after I solve my first cross, I'm going to do a Y2 rotation. What most of the people do is that they would just solve these two edges first, and then solve this one, and solve it like this. I mean, this is actually not bad, but I think it can be a bit better. If I'm using my own solution, this will not be a lucky case, but instead this will be a lucky case, because I do not need to orient the cross. If you do not understand what I'm saying, then it's fine, because I'm going to do is that I'm not going to match up these two and instead solve this one like what I would do in my pin order. Solve this edge and then solve the cross like this. Like if you turn with fewer pins, you can turn with less effort. It could be more controllable for you. Let's take a look at the second side. We do a Y2 rotation and we move this one. And instead of solving this, I would like to solve this edge first because it takes less moves again. And then we solve the clock like normal, my pin order, and then we go. So that's the end of my 5 example solves, and I hope all of you enjoy watching this video. Please leave a like down and subscribe if you haven't. Happy Chinese New Year, and I will see you guys in my next video.